Hello, YouTube. Old Rusty here again. Today, we're going to do another terrible tutorial. I've been asked by a few people anyway. Enough saying, yes, I want to see this. It's going to be awful, but I want to know a step-by-step guide of Shroomlights. Sweet, sweet Shroomlights. So today, we're going to go over how to build this monstrosity. I will link in my description to my showcase of the farm I'm doing. This is provide a brief overview of what's going to happen here. We're going to go over the bone meal regeneration farm, as it were. So whenever your nylium gets random ticked when there's a tree on top, it will turn into netherrack. We have automated this. I took this design from a guy. I will link. This was originally from his nether tree fungus farm 3 years ago. I'll link to that. Followed immediately thereafter by what is basically our triggering engine. We utilize a comparator clock to a dispenser filled with bone meal. When a tree does finally grow, it's going to pass a quick redstone signal to our, of all things, dispenser filled with minecarts to trigger a detector rail to ultimately recycle said minecart back into the system for reuse. Overall, we are going to utilize this layout here in 10 layers to harvest the 4 areas of Shroomlights, which is going to be these. And we're going to time all this so we can maximize Shroomlight growth. And then just this is a quick little overview of how our piston walls are going to work. We have an observer that will detect when a block enters that space, followed by a repeater getting cut off by a 3-tick repeater so that it only fires once and doesn't make an infinite clock. Let's get into this. We'll keep the monologuing hopefully to a minimum today. I have gone ahead and built the entire farm so that you can see what it looks like complete when it is not covered in wart blocks, because when you run this thing, it looks hideous in the sky. This is a quick overview. We have a total of 4 cube makers. 3 of them are for our nether wart, and primarily Shroomlights is what we're going to get from. And the last one is because in order for you to grow Shroomlights, you have to grow a tree. And to grow a tree, you're going to get wood. And that's what this is for. This entire farm is designed that you stop planting the warped or crimson fungus when your piston over there will no longer extend because all of this has been filled up. That will not fill up these other cube makers all the way, so that's the point where you go and spend 10 to 15 minutes harvesting with a diamond hoe with efficiency 5 and an axe, ideally with efficiency 5 or get a beacon going if you want to insta-mine it too. It takes a while. This farm will make a lot of wart blocks, almost a double chest full every time you run it. Well, single chest full, and you'll get 2.5 stacks of Shroomlights. It takes me about 6 minutes to plant all of my fungus so that they grow and fill this up, and then about another 10 minutes to harvest all of this, and that's insta-mining. So it's not a quick process. It goes through a lot of bone meal, because you have a bone meal dispenser here. You have to have a bone meal dispenser down here in order to regrow that netherrack when it does inevitably decay to nether, when the nylium decays to netherrack. And then you're also going to, on top of that, have to have another dispenser for your minecarts to trigger everything. This is important because the detection rail will provide a 5-second trigger, which is really good. And lastly, you're going to need to make your warped or crimson fungus somehow, so you can find plenty of farms for that where you're having to bone meal the nylium to get the fungus for you to utilize. A quick show off of what ultimately happens when this whole farm is triggered. That one minecart gets dispensed, and it utilizes sticky pistons to trigger, to both shut off my piston wall and then trigger my double extenders and then reset before planting a new one. Down here, you'll see there's a 8-tick, 4-tick repeaters for an 8-tick delay, so that the entire time that this farm is firing off, this piston will be extended, so you can't plant another fungus until everything else has reset. And the reason why you have to have this extended wall here, the nether wart's going to grow everywhere it can, and you don't want your double piston extender breaking, so we fill the space up so nothing can grow here, then we move it out the way, then put it back. Lastly, I'm utilizing a lot of glass elevators in this. When you're running that, you also have to put this extra one on top with nothing on it, because if you don't have this space right here filled with something like glass, nether wart will inevitably come in, grow, and then it's going to cut off your redstone signal. So let's just get into this awful, terrible live streaming monologue of a tutorial. We'll start here. I already have everything I need, and I will sit here and explain as I'm running through each one. Anything I'm running redstone on today is going to be warped blocks to differentiate that. If I'm just any solid block, I'll be utilizing the smooth stone. So wherever you want to build this place, wherever you want, we're going to pick a random spot right here. You're going to put down a dropper. From there, you're going to want to put the hopper in the back, one on top, and then another one here. Oh, and one, too many. Drop a smooth stone, and get a comparator going. From there, you are going to want to put a dispenser facing up. And this is where we are going to put our nylium. And this will be the nylium that will always get regenerated as it's needed. You have to have another nylium block next to it. Go down one level, and you want to make sure you put a piece of glass on top. So at no point will nether wart ever grow on this source piece of your nylium. You can interchange this crimson nylium for warped. I like using the warped because if you didn't know, the warped nether block, the crimson nether block will also prevent skeletons from spawning on top, so it can be utilized in certain mob filtering techniques. You want to have your observer facing the piece. It will detect whenever there is any change in the state. From there, solid block, and then just for good measure, cover up this hopper back here. From here, you're going to want to run some redstone. Using glass elevator trick, coming down, come here, and then there. So anytime that this observer detects a change in the state of this block, it's going to activate your dropper. In this dropper, you want to place one item of whatever item you want, something that's never going to get in the farm. It's fully protected. And then every single time, it's going to send that pulse, come down here, it's going to activate the dropper, spit out the item so that it goes in the hopper, which is going to get picked up by the comparator and trigger the dispenser. And I'll show you how it works. So we'll load a little bit up in here. So let's say my nylium changed. Automatic. And that's done. This is your growing area right here. From there, what you're going to want to do is come out, and you're going to want to put down another dispenser. And this other dispenser, this is the one you want really all of these fully loaded with bone meal. And then from there, you want to come back a few blocks, and you're going to set up a comparator clock. Comparator clock's really easy if you've never used one. It is probably one of the fastest ones in the game. Activate it so that it's on the knot, so just make the bulb shiny, and then run that so that it runs straight into your dispenser. And from there, we're done with these blocks completely. We're going to activate that. So right now, it's firing off repeatedly. We're good. This is ultimately what turns on and off the farm. From this, you're going to want to put a comparator down. I'm sorry. Yeah, a comparator. Let me get rid of that rain. And then a repeater. So anytime that when you have this activated, and this is bone mealing away, this is also going to produce a redstone signal. As soon as your fungus grows and there's a wood block there, that redstone signal will be passed. It's going to be picked up by your comparator, and then we're just amplifying it here because the strength of the redstone is dependent on how much bone meal's in there. This will let you hit the level so that it empties out. From here, what I suggest doing is you want to drop down a block. this is the part where here we want to go ahead and stick down our first piston. This piston is the one that's going to feed out our wood, in this case the crimson wood, so that we can cube it. Because when you grow a mushroom, it's going to automatically make that one wood block. We need to get it out the way. And what you're going to do here is you're going to have the redstone come here. You want to drop it down a level. And then you want another dispenser. Now, what that dispenser is going to do is this dispenser is going to hold our mine carts. And from there, we are going to come out and then loop back around. So in the dispenser, we'll get this part out the way real quick. You want to have like that. So go feeding into it, then come this way facing the same way that the minecarts are going to go. Add another one. One too many. Go up a level, and then add one more. You're going to put sand right here, and a cactus on top. What that is going to do is as the minecart loops around, it's going to hit the cactus, turn back into item form, then get fed back into the dispenser. So it's an infinite loop. And this is where we want to start placing down our rails. So from here, you want to come out 3 powered rails, a detector rail, another powered rail, so that we can keep the speed going. You're going to have 2 normal rails to turn this around. And from here, you are going to come out, and you're going to come up. And these are going to be powered rail, powered rail, powered rail, powered rail, powered rail. What you want to do at this point is put a lever here so that you power all those. Put another one on this side so you're powering it. And then put one over here. Make sure that it's not right next to this one or you're going to power your redstone and mess everything up. So this right here will allow for, and then load up some minecarts. So we'll grab a couple. You want to put in at least 3. I go ahead and fill the whole thing up. Because it just, what will very, very occasionally, it is possible that will happen is when this cactus breaks the minecart, it will hit the hopper in just the right way that it won't get picked back up. And if you're running an AFK session here and not paying attention, you may have that minecart despawn. It's happened to me a couple times over 2 or 3 hours. If you pay attention, you'll catch it. But if you, for some reason, you miss it, it's fine. Just put in more minecarts. And then just to show you how this works, it flips out, rolls around, and then goes back in. And it's right there. Now, to fully protect this, because we want every opportunity to not lose our minecarts, you want to put 2 glass on the side. You want it on top like this, and then we're going to put them like that. So what you end up with is 3 rows of 2, and that just helps keep the minecart in there. It'll hit the cactus, bounce off the glass, get picked up by the hopper, and loop back in. And that's it for that. Now we get into the, well, we'll go over here. So this is our redstone is complete until we start running it up to that monstrosity. So what you want to do next is come here where this nylium block. This is block level 1. This is where our tree is going to grow. We don't really start consistently getting shroomlights until the 4th block up. So we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4th block. This is where we want to start planting. This is where we want to harvest. The shroomlight will grow in the block area immediately around the center stem. So we don't want the wood, so we're going to suppress the wood. You're going to put a piston there. The piston won't be removed by the wart, and it will just do. I'm doing well, Antonia Davis. I'm just kind of live streaming a Bedrock, Minecraft Bedrock Shroomlight tutorial. So from here, you want to go up 10. So this is 4, 5, 6, or we'll just, again, levels 4 through 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. This is our collection, our gathering system for the center shroomlights. From here, you want to come around, and we still want to collect our other spaces. This is where it gets a little complicated. and we'll go through this. You want to grab your sticky pistons, your observers, and what you want to create here is we're going to basically this, and you want to have, and that is a double extender, and that is going to harvest these two places where Shroomlights can go here. And you're going to take this up there with the alternating sticky pistons all the way up to that level 14 above where you're, I'm sorry, level 13 where you're growing, and then more sticky pistons. And more pistons. And you're going to mirror this on the other side. Now, the other thing you want to do is you want to, at this point, you want to take glass or any solid block. I like glass because of the way that it looks. And you want to cover up all these observers because as this nether wart's growing, you don't want it randomly growing here and triggering your observer. This also sets you up to go ahead and install your first piston wall. The purpose of these pistons is that when they're extended, no wart can grow here because otherwise if the wart grew, it would get pushed by the observer, you'd hit your 12 limit, and your farm would break. So this is basically the core of the farm we're working on right now. So again, we're going to do sticky pistons all the way up. Times 2. Spin around. Get your observers together. Oh, make sure they're actually facing the right way. And then, oh, see, one missed. Building this in survival, scaffolding is your friend. And then from here, you want to do the glass. Take that all the way up. Like so. Spin around and extend this next wall of pistons. So this right here is going to be the collection area. The center stream is going to go that way along with our crimson wood that is a byproduct of this farm, and then these double piston extenders are going to gather our other 2 spots for a total of 5 Shroomlight spots that hopefully something will grow in. So at this point, we want to go ahead and start getting the wiring up going. So any solid block will work, and you want to go every other one. You're going to want to put this on every last piston here so that we can power all this. On the back side, you're going to do 2. Don't go between, because then you're going to block that entire feed, and we'll get rid of those. And same over here with these. And this is going to let us work our redstone up and then down over the farm so that we can get everything wired up. You want to use glass and put them on the ends, but level with all of these solid blocks on the outer side. And you want to do the same here. We're also going to do that here. And here. You're going to use a lot of glass for this. But it's such as the price to move around this redstone. So, we have this. Now we want to finish the elevator. So, what I mean by finishing the elevator is the redstone can travel vertically through glass blocks. So when I do this, it's going to work its way up to the next level. And then from there, you can do this. Now, I'm just going to take this up. They're pretty easy to stair in survival, so this isn't that hard. If you just do alternate your redstone and your glass block as you're going up, and you want to cover all this in redstone. We're going to do the same thing for all this, so bear with me while we get this installed. Again, you want this zigzag pattern so that you can move your redstone signal up and down. Knock it out. We're going to zigzag this, and this is going to, ultimately what this is going to do is allow us to fire off all these pistons in the correct sequence. So, Cover everything in redstone. So much redstone. You need it for the pistons. You need it for the observers. You need it to wire everything up. It's a lot. If you've ever tried farming shroomlights, it's painful. Your typical nether tree farm is just, it's not designed for it. It's concerned the wood, and I love the wood, but I love the light block. But if you want the light block, you can compromise. The problem is it's so hard to get any shroomlights anyway, for any sizable amount, that you're really just cutting in the rates terribly. So this is all wired up now. Ultimately, what we want to happen here is we want these two walls of pistons here to always be extended until we fire the farm off. And we do that utilizing redstone blocks on a sticky piston. So we're going to take this back. We're going to put this sticky piston right here. And then same on this side. You want to have it up as high as you can. Because ultimately, we're going to feed our redstone coming from that minecart hopper up all the way and then back down. Now on these, what you want to do is you want to put the redstone block offset. So when that one pulse comes up here, and you'll see here in a second, let's get these in place. When these sticky pistons fire, they're going to automatically shut off the one and then turn on the other. And that way we're not messing around with any complicated redstone timing shenanigans. You want to go ahead and we're going to put solid blocks behind all of these. And here. Now, while you're thinking about it, go through and put a glass everywhere above that there is a place that a warped fungus could grow in. Because if a warped fungus grew in at this spot right here, it would cut off this redstone signal. So by having the glass there, you ensure that that growth will never be an issue. Same with there. So at this point, this is the kind of resting state of the farm. These, with everything powered the way that it is, I'm always have these pistons extended. The other ones are off, just waiting, and we are going to go ahead and loop this around. Now, start with your piston. You're going to want to come out and kind of make this L shape. And the reason being is install a repeater here and then one here. To 4 ticks, set this to 4 ticks. And we got that. This is going, once we fire this detector rail off, it's going to last for 10 ticks. That's still too short that this piston would retract left to its own devices. We might inadvertently plant another fungus, and it would grow, and this farm would be messed up. This way, this piston will stay extended until everything up above resets. What you're going to want to do at this point is you're going to take your redstone out and move it around. And obviously, we need to put one here. And of course, like I said, you got to protect it. And then from here, we need to feed up into this. So you want to bring this down a little more. Now at this point, a good thing to do to make sure that you get it right is take a lever, put it right here. This is going to simulate the redstone signal from the detector rail. And then you're going to work your redstone up. From here. Again, put one there. And one there. And what you have here, if you pay attention, it's not making it all the way up. It's making it pretty good. So this block right here, what you want to do is you want to make it a solid block. Put redstone on top of it and replace this with a repeater. That is going to extend you up 15 blocks up here, which is enough. From there, you're going to want to come out on this. You're going to throw down a glass block. We're going to drop a repeater right here. And it's going to be just enough to make it. You're going to take this, come out, 1. And from here, you're going to want to split this off and go to both sides. We are going to connect up these and this over here. On both sides. The solid block is here so that it saves us a little bit of space. It's going to come in real handy real quick. And then from here, you're going to want to more or less do this. And what that has done is it has allowed me to extend everything. So notice how these are out of the way and these are now fired off. Same thing over here. You're just going to glass elevator it up. Let's make it symmetrical. And then run that redstone over here. And it will be just enough to cover all that. Now, take your glass, and remember, you got to have to cover everywhere that you have it moving up or down, or that nether wart, I guarantee, will come in and will shut this off. Now, this is fine right here. It can grow on top of this all day long. We don't care about this. But where it's moving up and down, it cannot be a solid block, which the wart block will be. So at this point, we're done with the core of the farm, as it were. This is all wired up. Everything has been... Oh, see, I missed one right here. And right here. Nope, right here. There we go. So this is how you want it. Now, had I missed this, inevitably a wart block would go right here and cut all this off. So what's going to happen here is that detector rail is going to provide a 10-tick redstone signal that's going to extend out these sticky pistons up here long enough for this to fully retract, this to double fire, and then once it settles in, it's going to then shut off and everything's going to have enough time to return to where it is. If you fired this off more rapidly than with that detector rail, your pistons and your observers, all this is going to get all shoved around randomly just due to the nature of redstone signals in the game, and then it's going to end up a combobulated mess that's not going to get anything done. So at this point, we can shut this off, and we can move this. And if you want to test it, you can. So we will fire off one minecart, and that's it. Fire off another minecart. Everything fires, and we're good. And if you look in your dispenser, all the minecarts are still there. This detector rail provides the perfect amount of signal that you need. So from here, it's more or less easy. This is the core of the farm. As you grow the tree, it will get bone mealed. All these pistons will activate to move those blocks out of the way where hopefully you get the most amount of shroomlights. And then from here, it's just harvesting. So we'll start off on the easy one. We'll concern ourselves with this first. So you want to move this away from the farm because, again, the fungus is going to grow. You would like, ideally, to get the bulk of your redstone for your piston walls out of the way. So the push limit's going to be 12 for this piston. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is what we're looking at. What you want to do is put an observer on the 10th spot, another observer facing that first observer on the 11th, and then you want to put in your piston. Except I'm one level too low. Like that, and like that. So as that wood flows, it's going to activate that observer and trigger it. From that point, you want to come out another 12, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're going to cover all this in redstone, so all these pistons will fire at once. You're going to come down here. What you want to put on this block right here is a redstone torch. Save a little bit of material. And then you want a solid block here, and then you're just going to run it like that. We'll get rid of this excess. So what happens is whenever a solid block hits, it's going to pass that redstone signal and fire off all my pistons. And just so you can make sure that it's doing this at the very end, there we go. So this piston here, you can run this farm until this whole contraption fills up over here. Then you got to go chop it all out, clear everything out, and then do it again. Next. Again, so we want to come out 12. We already know that this is the 12th block right here. So we're going to come up to the same level as our first one. And but on the other side. For aesthetic reasons. So we're going to put this here. Get all this out of the way. Make sure that's lined up. So this is going to be our first cube maker. You're going to want to, let's see here, facing this way, observer, another observer facing that observer, and then that. You want to take this up 10 blocks. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Make sure you're level. We are. And then put those in. So what will happen is as these wart blocks, some shroomlights and crimson stems get pushed out, they're going to come over here and then get put into a cube. And then again, from that, you're just going to want to come out 12 to maximize your distance. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you're going to want to take this up 10 blocks and fill in all these pistons. And if you're good at math, and I'm kind of okay, this comes to 120 pistons for this one. Times 3, plus all these other ones we have in this farm. You're looking at over 400 to 450 pistons you're going to need in order to do this. No one ever said getting shroomlights was easy, especially if you were utilizing a wither cage or a gas blaster. If we had 100% TNT drops guaranteed and Bedrock, which we don't, that would be awesome. So, and for the casual player that's willing to go to this much trouble for shroomlights, this is about as good as it gets. And then from here, we'll come back to this. You have to wire all of this up. On this back end, you got to do the same thing, but you need to pay attention to, one, your push limit doesn't start here. It starts here because there's this double piston. So this is 1. We don't really need to concern ourselves with counting too much. What we need here is a total of 6, and I'll show you why. So if it's feeding, the issue we have here is this: we have to fit our entire movement into this little 3-block area. So keep your observer 2 blocks away from your redstone just so you don't end up with any issues. And then you're going to want to do, coming off one way is going to be your first pistons that you're going to do. And then you're going to flip around and you're going to make it so that this one is observing the other way. And this is going to take these 2 block streams and it's going to move them to the left and to the right, because you don't have a lot of room to work with here. That's why we're having to use the observer tiling, because I have not been able to find up another way to consistently get this to work. And you're just going to come up. What you will also find with this farm, let's get this in first. Take it all the way up. Observer facing the observer, all the way up. Do the same here. Oh, see, you go too fast, that happens. And then facing this. Again, make sure your observers are facing the right way or it's not going to work properly. And you can always test it by just, yep, it's going to push each one of these individually. because it's a double piston, blocks, when they extend, if you have 2 blocks in this area right here, down here, it's going to make it so that one gets shoved forward and it's going to activate and get moved over. The other one is going to get pushed over here. That's okay. What you want to do is just, this will hit its piston limits for the original, and then they'll just automatically go this way. Because of the way, the random nature of the growth, if for some reason you end up with a cycle where you get 2 blocks in here, if that very limit is reached, you'll end up with, it'll just be this block mixed. But the next tree you're going to grow probably isn't going to fill up this spot here, so then it'll clear it out back to double. So this is only about a 5% reduction in rate. You could arguably add more cube makers out here to harvest that little bit extra of overflow. I don't recommend it. It's only about a 5% increase in rates for drastically increasing the expense of this already 400 piston monstrosity. So once you have these cube makers set up, you're just going to come out here again, skip a block, and count out to 12. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And build that all the way up. The same over here. Skip a space and go out by 12. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then you're going to fill all this in. These 3 cube makers are going to be virtually identical, so I'll spare us all the headache of me building all 3. So on this first one, and you're going to build these all the same, you're going to want to sit here and go and place a row of solid blocks across every other row. Start at the bottom and just spread it out. And this is so that we can fire the pistons. It has to be a solid block. Do not use glass. You're going to redstone all your pistons up. This is where a lot of redstone comes in. So you're going to use over 400 redstone just to wire this farm up. Because this is basically a giant tree maker with 3 cubes. Well, 3.1/12. So 3 1/12. Except we're modifying it so that we're not worried about the tree. We want the shroomlights. So you're going to come out an extra block. You're going to put down a repeater on every one of these so the signal reaches. To trigger this thing, come back 1 from the edge so that whenever a block finally hits here, it's going to trigger that observer. You're going to take this row of observers all the way up. And you're going to put a solid block every other one. And then you're going to cover that solid block in redstone. So whenever any one of these observers triggers, it's going to trigger a redstone. From here, you're going to want to put glass at the end of each one of these. And if this is starting to look familiar, it is. We're using more glass elevators. Make sure that you don't accidentally mess with the ticks. These all need to be 1 tick here. You're going to want to do your zigzag pattern. Knock out that extra block. I wonder if anyone's even watching this right now. I do have a Twitch. I just use it to import my videos to YouTube because I'm cheap. And I am playing on Xbox. So again, cover everything in redstone. This is probably one of my least ridiculous farms. Certainly better than Vex's. More practical anyway. Come up to see where your 3rd repeater is. On that block, that glass block coming out, you're going to want to do this. Come out, place down a block, place down another block. We don't need this one. And then 2 more right here. Because what you're going to do is you're going to pop a repeater right there and another one going into that repeater. Set this repeater to 3 ticks and then redstone it up. What this is going to do, anytime a block hits any one of these, it's going to trigger the whole piston wall. And what's happening is normally this would be an infinite loop. The observer moving would in fact trigger the piston moving would trigger the observer, which would trigger the piston, which would trigger the observer. This cuts it off. So it just fires 1 time. And that's it. Breaks the cycle. And you will build this cube maker on these two as well. Now right here, I made a mistake. This is going to push everything back in there. Don't do that. Have it going away from the farm. Again, this is why it's a terrible tutorial. I can't edit it. If I could edit it, I don't think I'd be inclined. In any event, take that out 12, build it up. This one's going to be built up too. And copy this exactly. And what you will end up with is the completed design. So I will now show you how it works. What you're going to want to do, let's get a bunch of bone meal. Load up that dispenser full of bone meal. If you wanted to increase storage by working hoppers in here, you can. Get yourself your crimson or your warped fungus, whichever color nylium you've decided to go with. When it comes to shroomlights, both have an equal chance of generating. Where is the mushroom? I am blind on my screen, and I will just search for it. And all you do is turn on this farm and let the madness begin of growth. Once you start doing this, system fires, pushes out. That was with one firing. If you pay attention here, you'll see these have completely cleared. And of course, we got no shroomlights. Every time you fire it, some trees will give you shroomlights, some won't. The more that you run this, you'll get this built every single time. And then as it generates, you're going to start having fungus pop up more and more all around here. It's also going to feed out. See, that time, we got a shroomlight. We got one shroomlight. And then as you run this farm more and more, you're going to have more warped, these nether blocks appearing all over the place. There's a 1 out of 12 chance that it can appear higher than this farm. So once you run it for a while, you're actually going to end up with a giant tree that just keeps overriding itself. We don't care about any of that. One issue you're going to have down here is the fungus can even grow here where you're standing. So as you run it for a while, go and start putting down carpets, put down buttons on the fungus as it grows in, and it'll block the next one. You really just have to run this for a while before you can finally finish your area. So let's just plop down, and all you have to do is hold down the trigger. Because of the way this farm is designed, that piston will not retract until it's time to plant another. And you just keep going. There's our first massive warped block invasion. So at this point, what you want to really do is, I find it buttons useful. You can do carpet. Anything that's going to take up a space. See, this is a problem for me. But if I go put it here, put one on this, I don't want any growing here or here. If I don't want it growing here, I can put that there. And just keep planting. So what I suggest doing is once you run it, go get your fungal growth, as it were. It sounds so disgusting, especially from the nether. Under control with buttons so that you can block more of the spawning spaces off. See, if you don't want one here, put one there. I don't want one growing on my head. Now I'm safe. Run through and do that. Let this whole thing fill up. Whenever you are going, see, and we're slowly getting shroomlights there coming in. They're working their way. And over here, it grows quicker because we got that double. And again, don't worry about this overflow. You'll just harvest it. It's not really going to impact rates. These two blocks over here with the double pistons are going to be a higher concentration of shroomlights than the other one. But with it so hard to get even a little bit, there's no point in missing out on any. So yes, this is not the most efficient wood farm. It is slow. It's meant to be. It has to be in order to get this timing to work correctly. See, right there. And you'll get knocked off. There you go. We'll pop one there. And now that's not going to happen again. So just keep growing away. This will take about 3 stacks to fully fill up before this piston stops, which is about 4 or 5 minutes at this rate. I just rubber band my controller if you're on a keyboard. Put something heavy on it. Pay attention every couple minutes. Go switch stacks. Let it grow. Once you have grown enough, and when it comes to harvesting, what I suggest that you do is don't ever harvest past this piston here and this one here and just leave this full so that it's already primed and ready. Because it doesn't take that long to fill up, but we're already getting shroomlights. If you've ever tried to get a lot of shroomlights, and again, this is harvesting up here, but it's so rare, it's not worth the resources to get this little bit. And again, this is full and it's finally starting to work its way over. This will all fill in. And then you just keep running this farm. Go through it with a diamond hoe with efficiency 5 or netherite. That is what is required for you to be able to insta-mine this stuff. Because right now, oh, it's fast, but you want to be able to instantly, because it's going to be a lot of it. And then you'll collect 2.5 stacks of shroomlights per run through. Get an axe, get your hoe. Honestly, get mending on the hoe. If you're looking for a really good place to get diamond gear with high efficiency, ancient cities are great to raid. But you just keep running this farm till it's full. Go run around, chop out all your blocks there, chop out all the wart blocks, shroomlights, and see, even occasionally, just because these trees grow really weird, you'll end up with the occasional one of these. You get the wood. You still get wood with this. And then just run it till it fills up. It'll do its thing. If it gets bad with the growth downstairs, use buttons or carpet, whatever is, as long as that block is occupied and it's not just an air block, fungus can't grow. And you just keep going. So this is the Shroomlight farm. It can be a little laggy. So, what have we learned today? Frog lights are way easier to get. You can buy glowstone from clerics or set up a witch farm to get that. Sea lanterns, guardian farm. But if you want this specific block, and I love this block, it is my favorite light emitting block, but you have to work for it, and this will get you there. If you're really good with the hoe, you get the rhythm down with your axe, alternating between the two. I've hit about 10 stacks an hour. If you have a friend that can help you, one person can be planting while the other one's running around harvesting. You can save some time there and collect even more. But this is the farm. Old Rusty out.